Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Aiyar. Your views, sir, on your colleague A.K. Antony's comment where he said that Congress needs Hindus, minorities, not enough to defeat the BJP. Is this admittance once again by the Congress that the party has alienated the Hindu vote with minority appeasement?
Well, he had said something like this earlier, and when I asked him, he clarified that he was referring to Kerala, where if you exclude the scheduled castes, then the population of the three major communities, the Muslims, the Christians and the Hindus, is approximately the same. Or did he perhaps say that the Hindus then equal the total number of Muslims and Christians together? I don't know what he has said now, but as a congressman, I am a firm believer in secularism. And my own definition of secularism is respecting the right of others to hold religious beliefs that I do not myself hold. And in those terms, I think it is essential for the continued unity of India to respect religious diversity by resorting to secularism as I have defined it.
Well, sir, to say that you haven't heard what he said, I'll just reiterate. Mr. Antony has said that your party, which is the Congress party, needs the majority vote along with the minority to defeat the BJP and Narendra Modi. And the fact, sir, is that this is not the first time that he has said it. If you remember, in 2014, in the Antony panel report at the back of your party's decimation then, even then, Mr. Antony, who headed that four-member panel, who filed that report, had stated one of the main reasons for the Congress's rout was due to perceived Muslim appeasement.
I have already given you my answer to that comment. I asked him, as I said, very specifically, what was the implication of what he had said, and he replied that it was in the context of Kerala, where he said if you exclude the scheduled caste population, and I presume he included the scheduled tribes in it, then the share of Hindus in the population in Kerala was equal or almost equal to that of the Muslims and the Christians together, and that it was in that context that he spoke. Now, I do not know what he has said on this occasion, but I have affirmed to you what is my belief as a congressman.
No, sir, we've heard your belief as well, but I don't want to correct you, but I'm sure, sir, you also know that in 2014, in that four-member panel report that he had filed, which he headed, in fact, was not related to Kerala alone, but the entire country. It's all in the 2014 report, and similar stand this time around as well.
I have no desire to get into an argument with my senior in the party, Shri A.K. Antony. All I can say is, of course we need a majority to win, but the majority does not have to be defined or determined in religious terms, in terms of religious communities. We need a majority on economic policy. We need a majority on foreign policy. We need a majority on social policy, and that requires a combination of all the different communities of India. So we need to go forward as one people, and it is in those terms that I would look upon this question. I do not think it is necessary to stir a completely unnecessary controversy as to whether what he meant or what I have to address is the question of the majority community. That would be to play straight into the hands of the BJP.
So no, I'm not looking for you to create any controversy. I just want to know your points of view, which at least for now seem to be contrarian to your own party colleague, Mr. A.K. Antony. I just want to ask you, sir, so you personally don't think you or the party in general is paying an electoral price of, if not direct, but at least perceived Muslim appeasement?
Well, my answer to that is that it is the BJP that is attempting to appease the majority. and they have not succeeded, because it would appear from the figures of the 2014 and the 2019 elections that at least half of the Hindu community is not voting for the BJP, for they only have about a third of the votes of the country, whereas the Hindus constitute about 80 to 85% of the Indian population. So it is they who are involving themselves in the politics of appeasement vis-a-vis the Hindu community, and we should be avoiding all these religious divisions and attempting to take matters forward by treating all Indian citizens as Indian citizens above all.
All right, so Mr. Aiyar, let's rule out with what Mr. A.K. Antony has said now and in 2014 and that entire report that was filed. So what, as per you, explains your electoral decimation or the rise of the BJP in the Hindi heartland or the title of the Hindu Hriday Samrat for the Prime Minister Modi? I completely disagree with you. I completely disagree with you. I just ask you to look at the figures. Modi has never received more than approximately 1/3 of the total vote. Whereas in India, in Modi's time before and even in Mughal times, we were about 80 to 85% of the population. So there's nothing new about India being, in religious terms, a Hindu majority country, but a modern politics is based upon not religious identity, but on citizenship and citizenship rights. So then, if I may, what you have just said, many would also suggest, political analysts would suggest, being a little delusional stance of the Congress or the confusion where you tread that soft Hindutva line and then you come back and say we are secular, yet you will push those visuals of the Janayudhari Rahul.
I do not disagree with Mr. Antony. I have already told you the clarification that he gave to me personally. I have not seen what he has most recently said, and I've also added that I have no desire to get into a controversy with him, and I would request you to please take my word for it as to what is my stand, and accordingly you may or may not agree with it, but I do not believe that if we looked upon our electorate primarily in terms of their religious affiliations, we would be doing a service to democracy or our own principles. I have already explained to you that it is citizenship and citizenship rights on which we must fight all elections, whether we lose them or win.
Sir, there's no attempt for me to try and create a controversy or pitch you against, your own party colleague, Mr. A.K. Antony. But the fact is, with what you say, sir, differs diametrically from what is the analysis or the understanding of your own party colleague, Mr. A.K. Antony, be it now or 2014. But so therefore I ask you, as per your own analysis, away from what Mr. Antony's analysis might be, what's the reason for your own party's acute electoral downfall?
I do not believe that the Congress's current position, by which I mean the outcome of the elections of 2014 and 2019, is the consequence of an alienation of a Hindu majority. In fact, I pointed out to you, although you don't seem to accept it, that it would appear from the figures for the... Just listen to me. It would appear to me from the figures of the 2014 and 2019 elections that a majority of Hindus did not vote for the BJP. So I don't see why we should be specially cultivating those Hindus who have an imagined grievance. I think we should be dealing with Indians as Indians and make their religious affinities a personal matter to them as envisaged in the Constitution of India.
Sir, I'm totally understanding what you're saying and I am listening to you. But many would suggest the art of politics is to actually reach out to an audience Or, you say that a certain amount of Hindus who are not voting or hold grievances which are unfounded. But, I would say, or anybody would suggest that's the job of a political party to hear those grievances and undo them. But I'll give you an example, because you talk about that, that Hindus are not alienated by your own party, but do you at least admit that there is a perception? Ms. Sonia Gandhi herself had once said that the BJP has successfully created the perception that the Congress was a party of Muslim appeasement. Now that's come from your own leader, sir.
Well, obviously we are not anti. If we say that religion is a personal matter, it cannot amount to saying that we are anti-religion or that we are anti any particular religion or that we are anti-Hindu. That is a twist that is being given quite unnecessarily and quite in a motivated manner by the BJP, and I don't think we should fall into that trap.
All right, so okay, you don't need to fall into that trap, but how do you get out of the trap that you're in? So, as per you, you should, what should be your party's roadmap to, get out or rise from this electoral rut you find yourself in?
I think in the years between 2012 and 2014, the second UPA government went into a kind of paralysis, largely because they were fighting back against a huge number of allegations that have simply not borne the test of legal investigation in the last decade or more. But at that time, the answers given by us were not satisfactory, and therefore there was a fall in the image of the party. I think through the first Modi government, that is between 2014 and 2019, the Congress was in a process of recovering from the shock and therefore did not do enough to rejuvenate itself. Now I find with the Bharat Jodo Yatra that there is a new spirit of hope that has been kindled in Congress hearts, and I expect that this will result in an aggressive Congress campaign in the last year of the current government, that is next year, 2013, and in my view, the core of that should be ensuring that the 2/3 Indians who did not vote for the BJP, either in 2014 or in 2019, should be united by the Congress with the collaboration of other opposition leaders in such a manner that as much of that 2/3 as possible is brought together on a single electoral platform.
All right, well, sir, I wish you good luck with that. Appreciate you joining us. Also urge you not to be so angry with the likes of us the next time around. You have yourself a good New Year. Thank you, Mr. Aiyar, for joining us. Well, that was Shankar Aiyar giving his roadmap, where he says he doesn't quite agree with his own party person, his own colleague, Mr. A.K. Antony, but doesn't want to get into any controversy and his own personal point of view.